Right.
Welcome to the wrestling related podcast where the topics are related to wrestling. The three of us are related to each other. I'm Josh.
Dustin.
Corey.
And I'm laughing because you may have caught a little tinkle sound as we started because I hit record.
I was pouring tea.
Sure, you were pouring tea.
I was pouring tea.
Little behind the scenes for those that are catching us. I hit record, and of course Dustin's like, "And go." So I hit record, and then he's like, "Wait, hold on." I'm like, I already hit record. Okay, let's get into last week. We started doing like a little double episode, or two separate episodes, cutting things down because when Dustin was on hiatus, Corey and I left unrestrained. Apparently went an hour and 40 plus minutes. So Dustin's come in and said, "Hey, let's chop this down and let's be mindful of everybody's times, especially his." So,
correct.
Whoa.
What?
Let's be a little more accurate. Dustin came in and said, "Almost 2 hours? What's wrong with you guys?"
You guys like the sound of your voice.
Corey said, "Maybe we should chop it up."
That's true.
And Corey also said, "It would have been longer if I didn't have to go relieve myself."
Oh my gosh, my molars were floating so bad.
Yep. So anywho, we have got, let's do a WWE recap right now. We had a PLE, Bash in Berlin this last week, but we need to go back. We recorded last Tuesday or last
Tuesday.
Monday? Okay,
Tuesday.
So we recorded last Tuesday. We did get Monday Night Raw in on that one. We did not get SmackDown, and I have not watched SmackDown, Rampage, or Collision.
Scolded.
So,
Dustin,
I'm out of the loop.
You took notes on SmackDown.
I only have three things to say about SmackDown. Of course, it was the SmackDown before the pay-per-view, or PLE, excuse me. And I know, and sometimes they're not going to do the best matches because they want to save all of that for the PLE. Get it?
Yeah.
I only did there's two matches I'm going to comment on. One of them has 2 points. Okay, Nia Jax. She was in a almost like a street fight with Michin, which had the potential of being really good because Michin is a good wrestler. I don't care who you are, she is good. Nia Jax, on the other hand, is not. She was sloppier than Jade Cargill being in that match. There were several times that I thought she's going to end up hurting that young lady. She's literally going to put her out. At one point, and this was the big thing for me. At one point, okay, Michin goes through a table breaks. Match is over with. Michin had been stuck inside of a trash can, and she's sitting in the corner at that point, still in the trash can. The match is over. Nia Jax picks up half of the table and chucks it at her while she's in the trash can into the corner. Luckily, it just hit the rim of the trash can. But the angle it was going when she first threw it, I thought that was going to hit that young lady right in the stomach. It was sloppy. It was hard for me to watch. That's my that one got me. The only other thing I'm going to say is LA Knight,
Yeah.
and Ludwig Kaiser. They cut some promos. And I had to back it up at one point and say to my wife, I said, "Honey, come here. You need to watch this. Is it just me, or when the whole audience in Berlin is chanting, 'You deserve this' to LA Knight, is there an accent from the entire audience?" And sure enough, you can hear a German accent from them saying, "You deserve this." And it was funny. The downside of that was they kind of played it up a little bit with Ludwig Kaiser saying, we're gonna have this match for the title. I am going to take this United States Championship and I am going to turn it into the European Championship. And I'm like, man, that sounds familiar. That sounds really, really familiar. Just swapped.
we just saw this playing out.
But I just thought that was funny. Other than that, it was an okay SmackDown. There was nothing really major in it.
Right.
It was
while
solid.
that is a similar twist, the main difference is that WWE has actually had a European championship.
A European. Yep, that is
And
true.
At this point in time, from the look of the attendance, the venues, the crowd participation, everything that they've been doing in the last year, why do they not have one? I mean, they
got enough people.
Hold it. I mean, goodness, they're going overseas to Europe or someplace else every other month, which is
Scotland,
awesome.
Yep.
Actually, now finally turning this world wrestling entertainment into now we're going through the whole world.
Because
not just here with a once a year venture over here and there.
They've been
just
Scotland,
in the last 6 months.
Berlin, Australia,
and
Japan. They're going to Saudi here pretty soon. France. I mean, they've been all over. In fact, they had a little mini European
Japan recently
tour before Berlin.
Yeah.
Selling stuff out, breaking records. It was cool. My thoughts on SmackDown, very similar. I'm not as sold on LA Knight as you guys are. No offense to LA Knight fans, but it's because it is everything about him is all just attitude era everything, from his walk to the ring and talking trash to his cadence in the ring on cutting promos is a hybrid between Stone Cold and The Rock, to his Mick Foley knee in the corner, to his Stone Cold stomps in the corner, to his finisher trying to set it up and finish it off. Like, I mean, it's too much of all of that. I mean, it's not a situation where, so like with Hulk Hogan sampling from, and in many cases stealing an entire look, but sampling from a superstar Billy Graham or things of that nature. It is just too much of the nostalgia of the attitude that I can't see who he is. And that differentiates. But that's a preference thing. Other people may go, I love that fact. Me, I'm just like, it pulls me out of it. And so the other thing that pulls me out of it with him, as I just finished this quick thought, and then I want your take, is that the last 3 matches that I've seen him in, he registers, he sells, but for such a short period of time, and then he doesn't continue to sell after his comeback. As soon as he starts to make a comeback, all of a sudden it's like everything before that just got erased. If someone's been beaten on his leg, doesn't matter. His leg's 100% now. It's not 80%. It's not 75% because they've been working on it. It's just boom. We're all 100% back to superstar status, or his neck, or his gut, or whatever. And that's just kind of like it takes me out of it, because it's like 2 minutes ago you were like dead. The guy was like having a hard time picking you up off the mat, and now you're like Superman. It's too dramatic, too quick, too abrupt, too extreme, whatever it is. But that's me, and that's me nitpicking. But as far as SmackDown goes, him and Kaiser had the best match of the night, hands down, easily. and that's even with Andrade on there because I don't like the kid that he's been working. And we've said everything we need to say about Nia.
Hmm. So as far as LA Knight and him doing more of the Attitude Era and things like that, my whole take at it is that's every wrestler out there. There's not a wrestler, including each one of us when we were doing it, there's not a one of us that hasn't taken things from other wrestlers that we have looked at and idolized. I mean, I was a big Hugh Morris fan, and the big moonsault off the top rope from the big guy. That's the whole big thing. That's why I did it. You know,
nothing's original.
Nothing's original. Everybody does it. I understand, and he has gotten a lot of flack for the fact that, you know, you're doing a Stone Cold or a Rock impression is all you're doing. But you go back to even when he very first started, that's his voice. That's who he is. That's what he's always done. Now, whether that's when he was a kid growing up and that's what he practiced over and over and over, it's possible.
I did see
but it gets to a point that it gets there.
I did see an interview with him at some point. Someone called him out on it. And it was this past week that I saw it. And he's like, yeah, my friends and family get after me about it because they're like, are you cutting promos on me? And he's like, no, it's just, I've just done that since I was a kid for so long. That's just me. That's just how I talk and how I interact, which is kind of curious. He used to have another gimmick at one point, right?
In WWE or Max Dupree?
Max Dupree, yeah. Okay. He didn't like that, though.
Did he? But did he do the same thing then?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Same voice, same type of promos. It was just with a... it's kind of like... you know, you get an Android phone and it's got all of the base with it, but then if you get it from Samsung, they have to put their own UI on top of it. That was essentially
which is better than basic, but that's
that was that was kind of the way they did it. I think the key there, Dustin, that you said he picked it up from youth.
That's me picking on the
is I like LA Knight because I relate to him so much. There is so much of the Attitude Era infusion in him that it's like that's me. That's how I did it. Like, you look back at, you know, the Chance Cordova gimmick, and it was like you could tell there was an influence from the Crybaby Chris Jericho of WCW and the Y2J, as well as Spirit Squad just being stupid. It was just like there's all that infusion of stuff that we pick up when we're watching it. So that's why I get a kick out of LA Knight. It's not a carbon copy, but you can definitely, and because we grew up watching that Attitude Era in the heyday, it's like, yeah, I know where all of those things are coming from because I've said them, I've done them, I've experienced them all. So at this point, I don't think there's a way of him making it any different.
So I think we need to, for any listeners, I think we need to differentiate. It's not saying that I dislike LA Knight. I think it's just a matter of when it comes to that particular aspect of him. I think it's a matter of the attitude seasoning. So for Dustin, it's just right. For Josh, it's like, give me more. And for Corey, it's like, it's a little much.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the seasoning of so much of it that it's like...
Dustin's been in the South long enough that he needs more seasoning.
Right. Yeah. I gotta have some flavor. I
apparently have just burned off taste buds with too much coffee.
And even though this is primarily WWE, because of the fact that Josh has his AEW shirt on, I am going to say it's also the same reason why Josh loves the Outrunners.
Absolutely.
The nostalgia.
That is the nostalgia. That actually goes back to me. That goes back even more. That's more like the 80s type of stuff with, bushwhackers, things like that. That's just borderline comical. So
meets the Blade Runners, meets Macho Man, Hogan,
Honky Tonk, whatever.
Throw all the hokiness.
Yeah,
let's bring on the hokey.
The hokey.
We'll talk about them in the next one.
The hokey character era of that golden era of wrestling is amazing until it just got too much. Like,
Yeah.
why do we need a repo
Why did I
man?
think of that too?
Doesn't he have another job he's
We
supposed to be
didn't
doing? There are
need a
plenty of
repo
cars
man.
that need brought in.
No.
We didn't need Bastion Booger. We did not need him.
Did not need Bastion Booger. No.
No.
Yes, and I am just so glad that our lovely dentist eventually just became another version of the dead man.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, way better. Way better.
Oh, craziness. Hey, let's get into some of Bash in Berlin and get into that stuff. Unless you guys had anything else from SmackDown that we needed to cover.
No.
Nope. I think we can probably go, if I remember the order of events, we can probably kind of recap it going straight through. Did that not start off with the title match?
Did.
Cody versus Kevin Owens.
Yep.
I thought it was a great match.
It was a great match.
I liked it a lot.
That was the one that, Dustin and I were talking just before we went live, that I couldn't really remember much of it. This pay-per-view in general, or the PLE in general, was like, meh. I mean, I fast-forwarded through a ton of stuff. I went back and I rewound a couple different times in this match particularly because I did enjoy it. I also loved the facial storytelling that KO was doing. The tension that he was kind of struggling through. And then with Cody trying to bring that viciousness out of him. And it's like, come on, give it to me. That was fun to watch. I honestly thought that, in my opinion, I thought this was the best match of the night. Or afternoon in our U.S.
I agree.
Case.
I'll agree with that.
I don't know. I forget the others at this point. Ask me after.
You were waiting for the Jade Cargill Unholy Union. That was your favorite match.
No. So going back to...
So, hang on. He brought it up. So, no. Which way am I going? He brought it up, wherever he's at. Okay, so... No. Don't jump forward yet, because we haven't talked about the other. Yeah, Josh brought it up. But... So this is like the second PLE that I watched live instead of watching the replay, as I generally have done. You stinkers didn't watch live. You watched replays. But with that being said,
the Hawkeyes were playing.
I don't care. As soon as it got to this,
and then after that, the Fever was playing.
As soon as it got to the tag match, I very audibly, I'm sure my neighbors like, what the hell is going on over there? I was hot because I could not fast forward.
That's when you
one
go
drawback. Oh, that would have been a good move. That would have been a good move. But I didn't know if it was going to be a 5-minute or a 50-minute.
Take a note.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to the Cody Kevin Owens.
Please.
So great solid match. Loved it. Kevin Owens does as far as I'm concerned, the best job right now with being able to show his emotions through his face. Mm-hmm. He does nothing. He doesn't have to say a word. Just sitting up there in the corner on top of the turnbuckle with that look on his face, you knew he was fighting internally with, what do I do? Do I turn on? Do I make him a Kofi and not turn on him, or do I turn around and make him a Jericho and turn on him? Right. What do I do? He didn't know at that point. The highlight of that match that I thought was funny was at the very, very end after it was all said and done, and they turn around and they hug each other, and the cameraman got a little too close, and Kevin smacks him. He just smacked the camera away. And I'm like, get him, Kevin. Get him.
Yep.
But it was a good match. I liked it.
I agree with all that. Kevin Owens is somebody that if you watch all the other stuff, you tend to almost forget. And it's moments like this and times like this that you should remember never forget that Kevin Owens is on the roster.
Yeah.
This guy can do it all, and not to a point where I would call him a good hand. Sure he is, but he can do so much more. He can dial it up and do whatever with whoever.
Yep.
And I mean,
And he will do everything
he
he is
holds his own.
asked. You
But
ask him
he
to do it,
does,
he will do it.
oh, and he's so good at making so many people making himself look good, but he does it the right way by making the other guy look amazing, so that when he is able to take him down a notch or cut him off or
Yeah.
do whatever, it just elevates both of them at the same time instead of hey, look at me, sort of
Which
scenario.
brings me to
so
this
good.
point. Didn't I just read somewhere that AEW refused to match what WWE was offering Kevin Owens?
Last time he was up for a contract thing.
Which was just like recently, somewhat recently. And they
Oh,
said they wouldn't match him.
I think that was the time before, maybe.
Hmm.
I don't know,
I'm
but
just
at
like,
some point in time, his contract was coming up, and they're like, yeah, I don't know.
They
Dumb.
should have matched it. They should have paid him a little bit more than matching.
I must
As far as I'm
start
concerned.
channeling DIY. Stupid, stupid, stupid,
Stupid.
stupid.
Yep.
All right, next match. Oh wait. We all picked Cody, right?
Oh yes, that one was the
Cody.
most predictable. It was Cody across the board, like most predictable.
That the move that made me pop on it though, that fisherman
off the top,
from the corner, that caught me off guard. I didn't see it coming. He just hit it, and I was like, no.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yep.
Okay, I had
Good
to
one.
throw that in there.
Belair Cargill versus the Unholy Union. It might have been this actually probably should have been the most predictable. I think all of us were just hoping that Triple H would do something that wasn't as predictable, because we all picked Unholy Union to win this one. And
if Dustin keeps that up, I'm going to have to pee.
And unfortunately, it was Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, and there was not a heel turn, and it's like, haven't we done this over and over and over again in just like a short time, and we're all already bored by it?
We all said Unholy Union. We all, after discussion, anticipated a turn from somebody. Yeah. Who was saying that Bianca was going to turn?
You two. I thought Jade would.
All right. Upon what, and because I keep fast forwarding through everything they do, because it's not really Bianca, but every Cargill match I fast forward through because it's garbage. I haven't watched enough of their demeanor, their entrance. No, Cargill's a heel, hands down. She cannot pull off baby. The only people that are actually cheering for her are the people that are impressed by her physique. And when it comes down to it, she's not any bigger, not any stronger. She's a little more trim than Bianca, but Bianca is way more athletic. Bianca comes out, and she comes out bouncing, twirling her hair. The crowd starts popping. Cargill comes out and does a flex. She gets on the corner and does a flex. She goes to the other corner, does a flex, and has zero expression on her face. We were talking about Kevin Owens' facial expressions a little bit ago, and how he can convey so much, and Cargill just looks like, I don't know, someone's Botoxed the crap out of her whole face, because there is nothing. And so I don't think there's a possible chance in God's green earth that they could make her a baby. Nobody's going to cheer for that at this point. The only way she's getting any cheers at this point is because she's getting the rub from Bianca. That's it. But with that being said, I also, and I'm going to stop talking about it, ranting, I guess. Unholy Union, they tried. they tried, and they did a bang up job, and
Absolutely.
they need more flowers on that one.
Yeah, they're good.
Absolutely.
But and thankfully they had most of the time in the ring with Bianca, but still. Oy.
Yep.
Oy.
Yep. Any comments on that match, Dustin?
I'm done.
I give that a great big Batista.
2 thumbs down. That's funny. All right. How about this one? CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in the strap match. You two both successfully predicted this one correctly. I am extremely disappointed in this, but maybe that's just because I'm just not a fan of CM Punk. I used to be, but I don't know.
Yeah.
He's kind of lost me. And I just... Hey, I'll give credit where credit's due. He looks in better shape now than he did 6 months ago.
Before. Okay.
So, there's that.
So, okay, I'll jump in here.
I liked the way that the finish went down. Like, because it's a strap match. You've got to touch all 4 turnbuckles. I hated the light thing. Like,
It's stupid.
I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but it was like, do we really need it? I guess maybe
Some
because
people
they
do.
were in Berlin to help the crowd with a visual, the live audience, maybe more so than the television audience, even though it's also an obstruction for people not to be able to see, especially those that don't have the best seats. But I liked the smack a corner, hit a finisher, smack a corner, hit a finisher, smack a corner, hit a finisher. However, from traditional strap match rules, anytime you break your movement to the corners, the count stops. So the fact that he hits a corner, goes back and grabs him, that should have negated it and it should have been over.
Right.
And you've broken your momentum, so now you have to start over at 1. That was the one thing that it was like, yeah. But again, at the same time, it's CM Punk. He's not, it's not believable that he's going to fireman's carry a dead weight Drew McIntyre all the way around. So they had to come up with something.
The strap match, bull rope, chain match, whatever you want to call it, it historically has been a challenge. One, to convey the rules that they decide for that particular match to the audience to make sure that they can follow along, but also just the execution of it. There's so much limitations with it that it tends to be problematic at times.
Yeah.
But I thought for what they were given, it was
good.
This is really good. And I had no idea on the history for Punk with all the strap matches. So
yeah,
that
was interesting.
So I agree with Josh with CM Punk. I was really excited when he first came back. When he came to the AEW, that when he first came back, I was excited for the first, I'd say, month, maybe even 2 months. It was exciting to watch him wrestle. It was exciting to see him back in the ring. I was a big fan. And then all of a sudden the backstage drama started, and then another backstage drama started, and then another one, and I'm just sitting here thinking it's the whole thing all over again. Yeah. It's the same thing it was back in the WWE when he left. Now it's coming back here, and ever since then, I got nothing for CM Punk.
Are you burnt because of how he exited AEW, or
a combination of how he exited?
Continued?
I think it's because, at least for me, how he exited AEW as well as how he exited WWE in the first time. When he came back to AEW after like an 8-year hiatus or whatever it was, there was a part of me that's thinking he's grown up, he's matured, he's changed a little bit, and everything he's saying is he really wants to help the business and help these young guys come up. So he's going to get rid of his ego. And then that was what we were expecting, and it started off looking that way. And then all of a sudden you start to hear the reports and it's like, it's just reports. And then there's more and there's more and there's more. And it's like, oh no, he's the same Punk. So now he's coming into WWE and I'm like, WWE is at one of their hottest, maybe the hottest ever right now. Do not come in here and let
mess it up.
Seth Rollins be a prophet in saying that you're a cancer. Because if you bring in the same Punk that you always have been, you're going to do harm again. And so that's with me, it's like these guys in the Fed have worked way too hard to get it to where it's at right now. I don't want you coming in and tarnishing that and ruining it just because you can't mature and you have to be so arrogant to think you're always right. Like that's my thing. It's like, fool me once, fool me twice.
Right.
And unfortunately, the track record, that's what I'm expecting.
Right.
It's just one of those things. 2 out of 3 times he has done the same thing. So I'm expecting it to happen again. It just might take a little longer, but it'll happen. He'll self-destruct again.
So for me, when some of I don't know if it was like his second title reign or something like that, but the attitude started shifting a little bit. Instead of being more cocky, more arrogant, it was more boo-boo face, more sour grapes about what wasn't working for him, selfishness type thing. And then the pipe bomb, and that got some interest, and then his exit, and so on and so forth. The AEW thing, I was like, oh, okay, well, here's a money grab, and wasn't really watching at the time, and then he exits, and I'm like, oh, okay, so there was drama. I was more frustrated with the post wrap up, where he was like throwing people under the bus and talking trash and dropping expletives left and right. And it's like not necessary,
right?
Not necessary. Now, and when I saw he came back to the Fed, I was like, oh, hey, cool, some nostalgia, and they actually let him back. Something changed, and something changed substantially. Was Vince back when he came back by that point? Or he was still had his toes in the water? Vince still had his toes.
I don't think
they hadn't let him.
I don't think he had separated yet. Right.
Okay. So, and Vince historically kind of making amends late is kind of his pattern. So seeing that, and I was like, oh, okay, so they finally mended fences or whatnot. But for me, I'm kind of, in the last few months, kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt at this point, because I've heard a lot of comments, especially people saying that even Triple H has mentioned that this is not the Punk that they had back then. This is a completely different guy, and he has come in with a much better attitude and is really trying hard to elevate and bring some people up, and it's so that I'm like hopeful, because the guy's got a name, he can work, and if he can keep his ego in check, then
and I think part of the reason that he hasn't brought
so much more.
Part of the reason he hasn't brought the ego in WWE yet, in my opinion, he's not really done anything to help by working those who are not already in the main event title picture. Like, look at what he's done. He comes straight in, and he's projected straight to the main event. And that's all an ego feed. It's like, oh yeah, I'm the guy. Whereas in AEW, when they bring in these guys, it's a case of, hey, we brought you in, and we're probably going to put you up in the title picture for a moment, but we really want you and your experience to be able to help build up the younger guys. Like, you look at a Bryan Danielson or a Chris Jericho, perfect examples of it. Have they both held the title? Yes. And Chris Jericho, right out the gate, the first AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He hasn't held it since, has he? Like, he had that one title reign, and then he went down, and he's been helping all of these younger guys and building them up. And then you've got Bryan Danielson that he says, I'm here to win titles, but it's not until after his contract is actually expired does he actually win the title. He's like, no, I want to build these guys up. It's not about me. I've already had my heyday. I've had my prime. I'm here to help them.
I think the
Yeah.
other thing that we've got to keep in mind too is also that WWE has now become so corporate,
Mm,
that changes a completely the complete dynamic. So you're no longer dealing with a wrestling company. You're dealing with a company that does wrestling, that their product is wrestling. So the
yeah,
fact that they're look at all the names that have left and
yeah,
had hurt feelings because of XYZ that are now making their exodus back because, well, things are so much better without
different.
Vince around
Yeah,
holding everything down with his fist and just saying no to every little thing and talking about how Triple H has been so open to new ideas and everything. And since then, we've seen such a change in the product and I think for the positive that we've all gotten uber excited again,
yeah,
that it's like I'm hoping that that's as big, if not a bigger piece of the puzzle than whether or not he's getting to do what he wants, sort of
right.
situation. So
Time will
I don't
tell.
know.
Time will
Yep.
tell.
Time, of course, yes, and I totally agree. Totally
One
agree.
final thought I want to throw in here for a strap match for any wrestlers that may be listening to this in the future, and you have to do any type of a strap match, dog collar
Don't,
match, bull rope match, whatever it is. Here is how
don't.
you do the finish. You grab a two-wheel dolly, you put it in the ring, and then use that object to wrap them up and drag them around as you tap all four corners.
Nice.
Just like
Not a hover round. Don't do that because
not
here's
the
what
hover
gets
wrap.
you.
Two
Get you a
wheel
dolly.
dolly, you hit them with your finisher, you lay them on it, you lift it up, you wrap the chain, the strap, the bull rope around
Tie him
them,
up.
and
Tie him
then
up.
you drag them 1, 2, 3, 4. It's over.
Throwing a hissy
Which
fit.
br- which brings us back to that coffin
Screaming.
match. Tie your
Love it.
hands up, tie your feet up, put you in a body bag,
Right?
then throw you in. You cannot get out.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Use common
Now,
sense.
use common sense. Now, we all remember Havoc that we wrestled with,
Mhm.
and
Love you,
he
John.
was he was uh not maybe not George the Animal Steel Harry, but he had plenty of hair, body hair that is. Um and I still remember the day that I even jokingly suggested, "Hey, what if I were to take some duct
Duct tape.
tape and I couldn't even finish the sentence?" And he got so hot.
Nope.
I was like, all
Nope.
right,
No,
Nope.
what if I just threaten it? And no, that was not even an option.
no.
But common sense.
Mixed tag match. The
Yeah.
Terror twins that are like 15 years apart in age against Dominic and Liv. Corey's the only one that correctly predicted this one. I'm even more disappointed that they did this because they had everybody coming out, and it's like, dude, you easily could have just had the
Easily.
finish right there where Finn Balor comes in and he cost it on Damian Priest, and now you have continued the feud and you've drug it out. And as soon as they gave the payoff to this, and I'm like, wait a second. We've had a baby, and now another baby team that have all won. Are we going to go 5 for 5 on this? Because the only match that was left after that, both of them are going to be babies. Like, it doesn't matter if it's
Dude.
Gunther or Randy Orton, they're both babies. So we have the first show that I can ever remember where all the matches were won by the fan favorites.
Dude, I remember as soon as they made their entrance, then all of a sudden I did the math in my head. Baby, baby, baby. Oh, crap. My predictions are off. I was doing the math. I was like, no way.
Well,
So,
I wouldn't go as far as saying fan favorites because we
Well,
still had the
not-
Cargill thing. But come on.
But for the way they build it and for the fans.
Right. I got you.
Yeah.
valid
Yeah.
point. Valid point.
This was what the match was to be expected. They're building up
Have you seen
Damian and
Right,
Rhea as dominant monster faces that they're giving them the Jade Cargill push where we're
they
big,
can
we're
work.
dominant, we can do anything and destroy everybody.
but they can work and they're entertaining.
but they can work.
And
But
have
it
you
was just,
seen
it was a lopsided.
have you seen a better mixed tag match though?
I don't know.
There you
probably.
go. Probably not.
Can I name another mixed tag match? Nope. Will I even remember this one in 6 months? Nope.
Name one.
I booked it, so that doesn't count. Nobody else is going to ever see it.
Never mind.
Yeah, I can't
Rory
remember 'em.
Fox.
I don't
Taylor
like
Mathieu.
mixed tag matches.
There you go.
I don't like mixed tag matches because one of the elements of a traditional tag match is to be able to gain the advantage by tagging in your
And double team.
fresh and then double up on. And you can't do that in a mixed tag. And then when they do have Rhea beating up on Dom, after it's in a mixed tag match with traditional mixed tag rules and the referee's just standing there letting it happen, it's like you've completely broken your own rules. So you have violated the sanctity of your own system. And it's just like that's the stuff that takes me out of it, because it's like, well,
sure.
if there's no rules, if there's no structure and nothing means anything,
right,
then why? I mean, it's like somebody getting a chair shot and the referee looking at it and being like, "Oh, I wasn't supposed to see that. Let me turn around." It's like you're insulting our intelligence, and that's the stuff that completely pulls me out. So it was like, meh.
Or you don't see the chair shot. However, the ref turns around and sees somebody climbing out of the ring, pulling the chair out with them, and the other guy's laying on the floor.
Right. Yeah. You know,
I will say
3 count that it's like a visual. It's definitely a 3, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, that was only 2.
Right.
It was 2. None of you can see anything. That was 2.
I will say I popped on Liv's. There's a move she did to Rhea where she looped around.
Lamahistral powerbomb.
Yes.
I loved it.
It was like Lamahistral cradle, but flipping into a powerbomb.
Oh, do that
awesome.
instead of the other thing.
Absolutely.
Oh,
that's so good.
That goes in the arsenal.
Every now and then, somebody winds up busting out a move that we have not seen before, and chances are there is somebody on the indies that has been doing that for years, and nobody just ever saw it. And all of a sudden, somebody sees it, and they're like, "Hey, I just had one of my friends that was on an indie show, and they wound up mentioning this move," and then they show it, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh yeah, that's mine."
No. Hang on, real quick on that point. Nobody. I never saw anybody doing the Bobtown backbreaker until Sheamus.
Everybody's doing it,
right?
And now everybody's throwing it in there. It's like, come on.
And can I just say, Mercedes Moné takes some lessons from somebody who's just as small as you and has a move that could be a finisher that could work on anybody.
Don't steal
you could
that.
Do that.
Just get
don't steal it, but just take some lessons. Learn that what you're doing, it's not going to work. You're not doing that.
I don't care. It's that good. Steal it.
It is good.
It's better than what you got, but come up with your
own. Yes. No, that Josh, move was definitely. I remembered watching and I saw that and I was like, what? Rewind and I'm like, oh, that.
It was good.
And I'm thinking about it. I was like, oh, you could do it. Because I don't know if she went over her or if she went under her. But either way. So Mercedes could do it Mahistral and go under and still turn it into a powerbomb, kind of like a Code Red. So instead of the person taking the bump sideways, they could still take the bump backwards. It could be done both ways.
With Liv's, it was almost ending up in like a crucifix type of thing where she had the arm and the legs wrapped around the arms.
Well, and that's just because of Lamahistral cradle, the way that you would do it, because she flipped under. But you could still do that, loop the leg, and then as you're getting ready to come underneath, you cook the arm and the leg at the same time, and then they're just taking a back bump.
Okay, we're getting a little too technical, but I think the way that she did it going sideways instead of backwards is a way safer way to do it, and
absolutely.
It looked just crazy and vicious in the from the get go. So no need to.
It's an
add
easy,
more risk without. No way to
easy
add
bump.
No reason to add more risk without payout because
Yeah.
that looked just beautiful.
The only spot that I could see being dangerous for her doing it the way that she did it is she's going head first and she's looped up. She has no control of how she lands. She has to trust the other person to essentially flip over and give her kind of a Samoan drop type of a bump.
So don't do it to Nia Jax or Jade Cargill.
Correct. Whereas if she did the other way, it's the person taking it that controls their own bump and how they land. If they land high on their head or neck, that's on them.
Right, and she's got to have the trust in the other person to be able to take it without
and with Rhea
squishing her.
Perfect. Yeah.
Easy.
It was good.
Oh, so good.
It was good.
Corey
it was a fun match to win, but yeah, Corey wound up taking the lead on that one. And then with going into the main event, we all predicted the same thing, which means Corey winds up retaining. He's got the prediction championship.
And he still doesn't have a cup.
Gunther and Randy Orton.
I'm not getting a cup. Who's getting a cup?
I'll get you one.
Trophy.
Oh.
I got you. I can get you one of those too.
That type of a cup.
Not a jock.
Like a Super J cup. Gunther and Randy Orton. What I did not see coming was Randy tapping.
Right. Well, he didn't tap.
Well,
he just
passed out. But like I said, clean finish.
And it was.
I didn't expect it that way. Like I thought it would be a pin from a knockout. Instead, it's kind of like a submission from a knockout, which can be arguably more impressive. Especially when Gunther's not really known too much for submissions. But
can we throw in the beauty? Can we throw in the beauty of the finish that the commentators did not comment on? That a missed opportunity of you had sleeper hold, interrupted, sleeper hold, interrupted, sleeper hold, interrupted, and then the last time he did it, he hooked his leg over the arm, so Randy couldn't even lift his arm to reach for it.
Yeah.
And that's the one that he went out on. If they had commented on that, that would have just been like sprinkles on top of this cupcake.
The psychology of the match all around was
beautiful,
spot on.
Good.
I mean, the fact that Randy's working the right arm, knowing that Gunther's going to turn around and chop the crap out of his chest, and he hates him. Work that arm, work it. So when he threw his clothesline, and he's not even taking him off his feet, it makes sense.
Yep.
And Gunther ended up, he played it. He sold the arm throughout the whole match. The psychology of the end, like you said, wrapping the arm up with the leg, it was good. I enjoyed the match. It was a good, solid match.
Yep.
And then afterwards, shook his hand.
Yeah, I will go so far as to, as much as I really enjoyed callback, as much as I really enjoyed the first opener, the other championship match, I think this one was appropriately put in the main event.
I like the finish of this one more. I do think this is the best main event, especially with Gunther being in the area. And I think there was a bigger, longer build for this, so it makes more sense being there in the main event. But overall, I did like the Cody Kevin match overall more than this. But because there were a couple points that this was just, the pacing was just a little bit slow. And it was like, it was losing my attention. But the finish of it, it was great. I liked it.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed. It was a solid pay-per-view. Wasn't anything spectacular, but it was a solid pay-per-view.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. You could have swapped out one match and it would have been better, but that's beside the point.
Yep.
Secret,
and that will...
I'm not going to tell you which one it was.
Right.
I will.
So we will have the next pay-per-view PLE coming up on WWE's end will be Bad Blood, which also then looking at the way this card was and how we figured some of the matches could go to potentially tie into Bad Blood, and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't see where any of these are really going to flow in there. I mean, yeah, they could set there
cage match.
Do we have any early predictions as to what matches might be? Yeah,
Punk. McIntyre, cage match, Hell in a Cell, whatever it is.
Hell in a Cell, yeah.
Yep. Yep. Each has
Dom
one
versus
win.
Rhea. Dom versus Rhea.
Intergender.
Yeah.
Out of any of these, I don't see any of the matches from this PLE actually making it to Bad Blood. The only one that I thought was really a good chance of it would have been Punk and McIntyre. But the best way for them to do it is to have like McIntyre at some point get out of the strap, and then that way, oh, you wanted to escape from this? Well, now I'm going to trap you in. But it was like the chance to build a little bit more. I thought it wasn't. So I don't see anything in here.
Dustin made this point last time when we were talking about predictions. We needed this one to be Punk so that we could have the rubber match, so that we have the Drew has a match one-on-one where he's got a victory. Punk has a one-on-one match victory against Drew. And now, well, we had a match that was more tailored towards you. Let's just sell it once and for all.
Yeah.
For all the chips.
I just don't see it because
Punk's
they
got
made
his
this a
bracelet,
gimmick.
though.
Yeah, he got the bracelet, and two, this was already a gimmick match. So It's like it's not the same thing as Drew beating Punk and no gimmick.
I think tonight's show will determine that.
It could.
So
yeah.
if we've got a big major attack and some more drama going on, then it's on.
Yeah, the whole Bad Blood thing, I'm kind of thinking it's more likely going to be a case of getting Bronson Reed. And then who's going
get him on there somehow?
Yeah, Bronson's got to be in Bad Blood somewhere. Is it going to be Sammy and Bronson? Is it going to be R-Truth? Probably Miz, because they had done a little bit of selling with that, but I don't know.
So history showing, don't they alternate the pay-per-views though? One's more SmackDown, one's more Raw. And if that's the case, wouldn't Bad Blood be more of a SmackDown one with the Bloodline type of thing? So we'll have more
Bloodline stuff.
Yeah, especially with Bad Bloodline,
Yep.
All right,
between
super
Solo
early.
and Roman.
Super early. What would you guys like to see as far as the summer or the Survivor Series Bloodline versus Bloodline?
Zilla
and Tulla. Bring them both in.
That would be fun.
Josh is like,
you gotta get.
I have ideas, but I don't want to say.
I think you have Solo, Tama Tonga and Tongaloa and Jacob Fatu against.
Are we doing a 4-on-4 or are we doing a 5-on-5?
I think it's a 4-on-4.
4-on-4.
And I think then you've got Roman, the Usos, and Sammy Uso.
Yeah.
And that's how you wind up doing those 4-on-4. And then The Rock comes out and costs it for Roman and them to start building up towards WrestleMania. Rock and Roman.
But we still got two more that we could introduce.
I know you could easily bring in Zilla and you could bring in Tala. That could work. I think they're going to slow roll it. I think now is the point where you start setting the seeds for Rock versus Roman, and then you start to slowly introduce those guys.
Here's my concern. Yes, I do believe we need to start digging into the Rock Roman thing. I think it could wait until Survivor Series to start doing that. But they've already apparently signed Tulla, so why not bring him out? I mean, you got to do that at some point in time. You're going to just...
Apparently,
you're just going to sit on him for the next 6 months?
Apparently, they had Jacob Fatu signed for like 3 months prior to him even showing up. Because they were they wanted him, they secured him, and then it was like, now we just got to find the right moment to bring him out, and it's not yet. So, and hey, them bringing in people, especially that don't have built-in name recognition with the Fed. They typically, the way they do it is kind of weird and odd. It wouldn't also surprise me if they wind up bringing them into NXT because, well, hey, Julia makes her debut and it's like in NXT. Great job. Way to drop the ball on that again, guys.
Really?
NXT paper or PLE last night.
The No Mercy one?
Yeah.
So
that was what I haven't watched it, but I saw on social media it was popping up and it's like Julia's finally here, and it's like Roxanne Perez that she was standing there holding the belt, and here comes Julia, and I was like, great. Like, that's a way to just ruin somebody. I mean, although I already figured it was going to happen because of what's the other one that from Mexico that they did the same thing with? Stephanie Vacour.
Vacour.
So.
Yeah, where's she at?
Apparently having some type of from what I had read, a report
contract
about
disputes.
No, it was like a visa type of an issue, which is why she made the appearance in Mexico, but she hasn't been able to get the work one here. You
know what? The Fed will figure that out. That's not a concern. They will get that squared away. I mean, when you take
it does take them a little while, though.
They opened. It does. But when you look at, they took Fatu's restrictions. Jacob's restrictions to the U.S., and he was on that European tour. Right. They'll get it squared away.
Yeah.
Anywho, it'll be interesting to see what's happening coming up for the next PLE, Bad Blood.
What is that?
And then
3 in a row for me? Is that the...
2. You won it last time at All In, and then this is
I
your
had SummerSlam.
Defense. Oh, you mean 3 total defense or champion reigns?
No.
Yeah. Dustin had SummerSlam. He wound up winning that one. And then you won All In, and then you defended at Bash in Berlin. You got to get AEW this coming up weekend to get your...
Yeah. Three-peat.
Yeah. No, Bash in Berlin. Yeah. Okay.
All In, Bash in Berlin.
All right.
Yep. So,
all
right. That's all we got for you guys. We'll catch you on the next episode where we are giving our predictions for AEW All Out coming up this weekend.
Already.
See ya.
Bye.